1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Come.
All right, here we go. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bibb County Commission Committee Meeting of the Whole. Today is Tuesday, April the 13th, and the time is now 10 minutes after 9. We do apologize for our late start today. As many of you know, we do have the going home services for Deputy Christopher Knight today at 2 o'clock, but the roads have already begun to close around downtown Macon. So if you're planning to come to that, please leave early. This time we going to go ahead and call our meeting to order, and we're going to begin with the approval of the minutes. The first item of the business is the minutes of the Committee of the Whole from March the 23, 2021. Can I get a motion? Got a motion by Commissioner Wynn, second by Commissioner Bronson. Any discussion on that matter? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. This time I've been handed a request for a resolution for Macon-Bibb County Commission to officially name the structure located at 700 Poplar Street as a Macon-Bibb County City Hall and for other lawful purposes. That was sponsored by Commissioner Al Tillman. He had requested this be added to the agenda today, so at this time I'd ask for a motion to add that to the agenda for consideration. Got a motion by Commissioner Clark, second by Commissioner Lucas. Any discussion on adding that item to the agenda? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And we'll place that toward the end of the agenda. First of all, today we're going to move on to the items for financial consideration. Item 2A is the ordinance to authorize a budget transfer from the tax commissioner's budget from the repairs and maintenance, software licenses and maintenance line item to small equipment and improvements line for the amount of $13,000. That is my motion. Can I get a second? Got a second by Commissioner Wynn. Any question in that regard? Hearing there's no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously, be sent to the consent agenda. And Commissioners, while we're on this topic, just briefly, because of our current rules and guidelines, these different departments may have a budget item, and because it's over $10,000, it comes before commission. I do want to go ahead and plant the seed and ask for consideration in the future time to increase that amount. These amounts are already in their budget items. I know there's been some discussion before, but these items keep coming before us. This is a constitutional officer who's having to get permission for $3,000 within his own budget. We've had the same issue come up between the Clerk of Superior Court and the Probate Court. Most of these constitutional officers, in my opinion, these $10,000 limits was placed quite some time ago. Inflation is up now, but also it's within their budget. It's not new money. I think it's something that's worthy of a conversation in the future. And I do know, I look back at your agendas from previous years, and it did not pass before. And I know people have strong feelings one way or the other, but I think we really could be more efficient by giving them the authority that they need to transfer money within their own budget without micromanaging them. So I hope that's something we consider in the future. We're going to go ahead and move on to 2B. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a task release agreement, number 4, with Hostetler and Associates to assist with landfill operations and provide other services relating to the preparation and closure of the Walker Road landfill, a fee not to exceed $2,067,310, payable by the 2018 SPLOST revenues. This is Walker Road landfill closure line item. As my motion, can I get a second? Got a second by Commissioner Jones. We do have someone here prepared to answer any questions today. If anybody has any questions, we'll hear from you this time. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and move for a vote. Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously, be sent to the consent agenda. Item C is an ordinance to approve a budget transfer from the amount of $80,544 from the 2015 Blight Fund. It's administration line item to the 2015 Blight Bond Fund. District 5 contingency line item for the completion improvements of Mattie Hubbard Jones Park and Culver Street. That's my motion. Does anyone like to make a second on that?
I'd like to be added as a sponsor.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Clark would like to be added as a sponsor and also makes a second. Any discussion on item, Commissioner Lucas?
Thank you. Mattie Hubbard Jones Park has just been sitting there and sitting there and sitting there for the longest time, and I think it's time for us to move on that. Former Commissioner Burt Bivens was a big advocate. It was in, of course, District 5, and he was a big advocate. But I don't know what happened with this, but we set it up as a priority, and it needs to, move to the head of the line. And I think this is, the intent of this is to do just that. But we need to be very intentional, because Maddie Hubbard Jones serves a whole lot of people in that area, but it's insufficient for that. The restrooms that were put in there were not sufficient to service that area. There's just a lot of things that need to be done. So I would encourage and request that the administration look at this and make sure that it stays a priority, because it's been overlooked for a long, long time.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucas. I personally added that to the calendar because I know, listened to Commissioner Bivens and him doubting whether or not we're going to do this. I want to let him know that we haven't forgot his words, and we're going to make sure it's on there. It is a priority because it's on this agenda, and I do appreciate Commissioner Clark as well insisting on that, as well as Culver Park be added to this. Thank you for your comments, and Commissioner Clark.
I just wanted to briefly talk about the Culver Street Park. This is a park at the corner of where Walnut, 3rd, and Culver Street come together in Pleasant Hill. It was historically, I don't know the details of the history exactly. It was one of these parks similar to Beaconsfield that was at one time segregated, and instead of integrating, they shut the park down. There have been a good group of people from Pleasant Hill, from Campus Club, that have been designing the park there, working with somebody to raise the money to get this done. This will allow them to unlock some matched funds that they've raised and allow them to start construction on that park right there that's been in the works, and the fundraising's been going for a number of years. So that's what the second half of this does. The first half gets Maddie Hubbard jump-started, and the second half gets the Culver Street done. Thank you. I think that I'm correct about that, but yeah.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Williams.
Can I ask Mayor Pro Tem, is that a park that already exists? We just have to renovate it? I'm not familiar with that.
Right now. We haven't started construction on it yet, but they've raised I don't remember the exact amount that they've personally raised through Campus Club, but it's 5 figures. It's well over. I think that they would be somewhere at almost a 6-figure number once this is done. So, okay. They're ready to start now.
Okay. So it was not a park before that's been gone under?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Wayne. Any other questions? Commissioner Lucas?
Who will own that park? Who owns it? Who owns we own the land now? Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay, and we will own the park. What will be the relationship that Campus Club will have? Will they have, priority over the use of it? What will that relationship be?
My understanding is that they're just going to be a partner and help maybe maintain and utilize the park, but I don't know if there's any particular priority rights for Campus Club.
Okay.
This is our park like all parks. So, and also moving that money over to the Maddie Hubbard will allow us to go and issue contracts and go through the bid process on that, and that's why it's before you today. So we do have a motion and second. If there's no further questions, I call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Likewise, that motion carries unanimously, be sent to the consent agenda. We have a resolution to authorize the acceptance of registration of 3 unregistered paved roads in Goodall Woods subdivision Phase 2 for public use and part of the county road system. That's my motion. Can I get a second? Got a second by Commissioner Howell. Any question about this process of these roads? Seeing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously to be sent to the consent agenda. Item 3B is an ordinance to dedicate a portion of Sardis Church Road extension in the memory of Carrie V. Beckham's contribution to the county and community, appropriating $500 from fund balance to Facilities Management Department the purchase of materials. That motion is sponsored by myself and Commissioner Howell. Commissioner Howell, would you like to make that motion? Got a motion by Commissioner Howell. Can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Bronson. Any discussion in regards to that matter? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Sure.
And so fast today. I wanted to hear the sponsor just say a little something about Carrie Beckham. Just for the information, we are being televised, and I think it would be nice for people to know what we're doing, a little bit more about what we're doing.
And I do apologize, there is some information contained in the documents, and
Yeah.
Commissioner Howell can refer to that, and we've also asked the family to be here next week as well, like we did on the preceding weeks, and there'll also be plans, I think, in May for the celebration. So Commissioner Howell, he has his information up now, and I asked him to give some information to Ms. Lucas.
Sure, and also, we're going to do a dedication on site, and the family's asked that we do something this 1st of May, and this is going to be near the Houston Road Community Center. But Mr. Beckham served in the armed forces during the Vietnam era. He was Mayor Ronnie Thompson gave him a key to the city. The governor gave him less dramatics, gave him some recognition at the state. He was kind of a hero back in the day. The family's been in that area forever, and they're just asking for something. It's in conjunction with a birthday coming up for him. And
You know, I am not opposed to renaming things in honor of people, because that's history, that's creating history, and it's creating recognition, and I think I just thought for the benefit of those who don't have the information that we have, that it would be good just for those who are listening in to hear. We need to do a little bit more of that, a little bit more information.
And
Thank you.
I appreciate that, and I think that we don't do enough of this. I know you've led the way a lot in some of this, and sometimes we forget some of these guys and ladies that have gone before us and kind of carved the way.
Right.
And plus, it puts me on the spot and makes me say something. So thank you.
That's right.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell and Commissioner Lucas, and we will have the family here, and we will read the resolution like we've done the last couple of times, and we do appreciate someone other than Commissioner Lucas
All right
naming
now.
the
All right, leave me alone.
Let's move on to Commissioner Wynn.
Yes, just, where is this portion that you're talking about on Sardis Church Road? What portion of the road?
It's right near the the Houston Avenue, Houston Road and Sardis Church Road, where the new
South Bend Recreation
Is that
Center.
recreation
where the
center is?
recreation center is. It's just a little portion right there.
Okay. So we're not renaming the road, we're just putting that little that
Just putting
sign
a
up
little
like
sign
we do?
up. Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Wynn. We do have a motion and a second, no further discussions. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and be sent to consent agenda. Item 4 is contracts for implementation of renewal. Item 4 is a resolution to authorize and approve the purchase of one 100-foot aerial platform Class A pumper with 500 horsepower Cummins diesel engine and 2 Class A custom cab pumpers for the fire department in the amount of $250,000 from Fire Station, Inc., a DBA Company 2, to be paid for by Capital Improvements Fund. Commissioner Bronson, would you like to make that motion? Thank you, sir. We have a motion by Commissioner Bronson. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. I just want to let you know, this item came up before from the commission as part of our capital improvements program, our CIP. Since we were unaware that we needed to have this submitted through this process, so we had that. But this is actually saving us a lot of money. These are refurbished. They're going to be backups, and we're getting probably about a $750,000 reduction in price for these. So I do appreciate the fact that we're saving some money and following the processes. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Thank you. That motion carries, will be sent to consent agenda. Item 4B is a resolution authorizing the mayor to purchase and sell agreement with the Flint Equipment Company in an amount of $83,450 for the purchase of John Deere utility tractor with funds paid from Middle Georgia Regional Airport Machinery and Equipment Fund. That is my motion. Can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. Any questions in regard to this equipment?
Sorry? Is it brand new? Is it replacing something or is it new?
I believe this is a brand new, paid for by the Middle Georgia Regional Airport Machinery. It's brand new.
Okay,
Okay.
just curious.
Do you have any other questions? We have Attorney Frank Mathis here. I say Frank Mathis.
And does he want to tell us anything about it?
Change your name, Mr. Matthews.
It's a piece of equipment that we're replacing, right?
Yes, and I spoke briefly with Blake Roy regarding this piece of equipment. And he says he needs it to maintain the runways and the grounds around the airport.
Oh, I'm certainly in favor of anything they're doing out there to make that better for us. So I just had a question about that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Frank Howard, a.k.a. Mathis. Appreciate that.
Give him something to do while he's here, okay?
All right, we do have a motion and a second. I see no further discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously, be sent to consent agenda. Item C is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a purchase and sale agreement with Wade Ford, Inc. in an amount of $62,313 for the purchase of 3 Ford Escape with funds to be paid from the Fire Department and Capital Improvement Fund. My eyes are really going.
He needs some.
I see Commissioner Bronson wants to make that motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Got a second by Commissioner Clark. Any discussion about these items? They're all for the fire department, and I've seen they go through our natural process. Mr. Howard. All right, we have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously, be sent to the consent agenda. Item 5 is state court organizational chart. We'll need to have Judge Hanson, I believe, is going to be here for that, and we do have a need for executive session, so if he comes in before that, we'll go ahead and handle the state court organizational chart. It's my understanding that he requested a change on that. I'm not aware of what that specific change is, so we'll wait till he arrives to get that change, and hopefully we'll do that before executive session, but if not, it'll be after that. We'll move on to new alcohol beverage licenses. Item 6 is a new alcohol beverage license for Walden Food Mart located at 7395 Industrial Highway, Macon, Georgia, 31216. That's my motion. Can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any questions? Seeing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries, will be sent to consent agenda. Item B is the Final Port Imports LLC located at 48480 41 Circle Suite A, Macon, Georgia, 31206. That is a new alcohol license. That is my motion. Can I get a second? Got a second for Commissioner Howell. Any discussions about this item? Seeing no discussions or no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item C is new alcohol beverage license for Zach's. Good Lord, I need some glasses. Zach's Food Mart, located at 1257 Riverside Drive, Macon, Georgia, 31201. That is my motion. Can I get a second? Got a second by Commissioner Wynn, and I have a question by Commissioner Watkins. Commissioner Watkins?
Again, it's not my district, and I'm not going to make a big deal about it, but oftentimes when I'm riding down Riverside Drive, I think this place really needs 2 more gas stations. Like, but anyway, I yield.
They are getting a quick trip, though. That's pretty good. So, Commissioner Bronson.
Well, I'm going to yield too.
Riverside Drive. I think they may be one in my district or maybe both. I'm not sure. I have some part of Riverside Drive.
Yeah, we share.
Yeah.
We both share
I kind
Riverside
of want to know where
Drive,
you
so-
put more alcohol for sale.
I don't keep up with your district particularly, but it is 1257 Riverside Drive, so if you will put that in your area. Here we go. We got a picture right here. We've got Mr. Attorney Michael McNeil up here. So, Mr. McNeil, what can you tell us about this project?
Yeah.
It is now.
There we go. Okay, so this store is right next to Rose Hill Cemetery. It's the Chevron Mart. It's been there for a number of years. And then D, Everest Service is, it's right next to it. There's a science store, and it's called like Food Corner, something like, it's also an existing store that's been there a number of years. So neither one of these are new construction. Yeah, that's right.
Near Wimbish Road?
That's right.
Still
That's
not-
actual bird. Oh,
So item C is Rose Hill, and item D is near Wimbish Road.
Okay.
we're on
And it's
item-
not new, Michael?
Correct.
Attorney-
These stores have both been there for years. I think
Are
they're
they
change
new
of
or
ownership.
renewal?
They're not renewals, they're new owners.
That C is in.
But they've been at alcohol sales there already with the current owner or whoever the owner was.
That's my understanding. They've been gas stations, they've been operating for years as gas stations, so I don't know what the license status in the
Oh, I
past
just,
was.
yeah,
but-
I know where this is now. I saw this yesterday and thought that awning looked cute out there, but they already had alcohol sales, I do know that. Yeah, I like the way things look sometimes, but that looks nice. Don't you think?
They've always served alcohol.
They've always had alcohol sales out
Alcohol there, but it is, we do treat these renewals when change ownership like a new business. They go through that normal process. So when we refer to that, we know it's not a new construction, but it is a change of ownership, which we treat like a new business. So we do have, any other questions on item C? No other questions on item C. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed,
Aye.
nay. That motion carries unanimously, be sent to consent agenda. Item D is a new alcohol beverage license for Everest Service located at 2746 Riverside Drive, Macon, Georgia 31204. That's my motion. Can I get a second? Got a second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion on that item? That's going to be right next door to the Quick Trip. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously. We're going to move on to the item that we added, which I think will be E. A resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to officially name the structure located at 700 Poplar Street as a Macon-Bibb City Hall and for all other lawful purposes. Commissioner Tillman, that's your motion. Would you like to make that? Got a motion for Commissioner Tillman. Do we have a second? Commissioner for Commissioner Clark. We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Tillman, if you wouldn't mind, if you could give a little information on the purpose of this, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. A couple of years back, or during the first consolidated government, former Mayor Rickard vision was to call this facility the Government Center because we were looking to bring more agencies over here in this facility, those that were housed down at the terminal station and other places. And that was a vision to just make all this the actual government center and feel like a government center. Well, we know that it's still City Hall. Most folks that come to town look for City Hall, and it's referred to City Hall. The sign out front says City Hall. And I just, for the purposes of probably the last 7 years of calling it something else, most folks, even if we referenced it online, would say the Government Center / City Hall. So just wanting to go back and just officially just make sure those that's coming to town, visiting us, and understand that this is our City Hall. All across the country, municipalities have a City Hall, and just wanted to make sure that we, in Macon-Bibb County, reflect that we are a City Hall, and that minor change and correction can be officially known as City Hall, is the whole idea. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Tillman. I did have one, I guess, caveat or question. I understand Macon-Bibb City Hall, that would be a change from what's out front. The large inscription that's engraved at the top of the building says Macon City Hall, and I don't mind whatever you want to do. It's just the same thing with the Macon City Auditorium and not the Macon-Bibb City Auditorium. I think Macon City Hall, in my opinion, would perhaps be something we ought to stay with for clarification instead of calling it the Government Center or the Flame Building or whatever you want to call it. I've heard all kind of names that it be called.
Yeah.
But just perhaps we may want to consider after discussion with the
Well,
members of the
actually,
commission.
we can update that. I think on our new mapping system, because we're consolidated, I think that's where the name came from, Macon-Bibb. I'm fine with just Macon City Hall, but we have to. I think when we consolidated, what did help us by saying Macon-Bibb is that our mail and folks looking for Macon didn't end up down in Macon County, because there is a Macon County as well. And so, but Macon City Hall, I'll be fine with Michael updating that and having it available for next Tuesday. Mr. Mayor, it's your pleasure.
Well, we'll hear from the rest of the commission. That was just
Yes,
one of my caveats. Commissioner Howell?
Yeah, I was going to respectfully ask for a amendment to that, to call it City Hall, because I think that's, as a general rule, I know that's how I still refer to it. It is the City Hall, it is City Hall. So, ever how you want to do that, Mr. Tillman, but I agree. Let's just keep it simple.
Okay. Commissioner Jones?
I agree with the Macon City Hall. I think Commissioner Tillman's making a good point, and we are a city and we're also a county. So I think Macon City Hall, you wouldn't have to change any signage, and I think that's appropriate.
Okay. So apparently we have a friendly amendment to change from Macon-Bibb City Hall to Macon City Hall, and we'd ask for the next meeting. We'll go ahead and take a vote today, but we'll ask for the next meeting that be changed and amended accordingly. So this time we have a motion to amend to include the language Macon City Hall. Any questions in that regard? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the amended motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. We still need to vote on something.
No, it's unanimous. No objection to that being the main motion.
Okay. That motion carries, will be sent to consent agenda with that amended change that will go out on your paperwork this week. We do have some time, we do need to go in executive session. Judge Hanson, I apologize. Judge Hanson, we had a item on the agenda for ordinance to amend the Macon-Bibb County State Court organizational chart. I think we had sent a copy of that ordinance to you. It's my understanding that you may have a change to that item. If you would, please come to the microphone, sir.
Good morning. Thank you all for letting me be here. Yes, we have a change. The chart that was attached to the ordinance isn't quite right, isn't the one we submitted, so I've got a revised version of that I can hand up to whoever needs to get it. There are copies there for everybody if you want it. Essentially what we're doing is our chief deputy clerk passed away during COVID, and she was a phenomenal employee, a phenomenal person, had been worked in the Superior Court clerk's office and retired from there, and then we hired her as our chief deputy clerk. But when that happened, I talked to our clerk and to Judge Lewis and said, before we just fill that position, let's talk about our overall structure and see, is that what we want to do, is just fill that position, or are there some other things we can do? And we looked at particularly trying to make sure we had good alignment in our positions with their compensation and with their duties, and that we had the ability to do the things we need to do, because we've been a little bit short-staffed, because we have, with her passing, we have 3 vacant positions, 2 part-time and that 1 full-time. And so what we decided we would like to do is, rather than fill the chief deputy position, would be to create 2 new positions, so that the way we're set up, we have a civil group and a criminal group in our court. And so what we would do is create 2 new positions. There'd be 1 person over civil, 1 person over criminal, and then we'd have 2 people under that. The net result is that we add 2 full-time positions in place of the 1 full-time and the 2 part-time, and the overall budget impact goes down. So I mean that's in a nutshell what we're trying to do.
Thank you, Judge Hanson. Any questions for Judge Hanson in this regard? Okay. This time I entertain a motion to approve. Got a motion by Commissioner Jones. Can I get a second? Commissioner Wynn and Lucas. Any further questions or discussion on that matter? Commissioner Lucas?
Yes. Judge Hanson, would you kind of go through, who are the state court judges, just for information? I know you.
Judge Sherelle Lewis and myself.
Okay. And what's you have mostly females in your office? the staff?
I think I'm the only male, now that you say that.
You should be happy. You should be real happy, well taken care of. The racial makeup?
Right now, we have, so if you look at the chart, the positions that we're looking to add are the court specialist 3 positions. So it'd be, if you look on the left side, it's the second one down, on the right side, it's the second one down. So the other positions in the clerk's office would be the clerk of the state court, which she's a white female. The court specialist 2s that we have, which would be second line from the bottom, both of those are white females. And then the 2 at the bottom, the deputy clerk 1s, are both black females. And part of the intent here is to move those 2 individuals up to a higher position. That's one of the things we're trying to accomplish with this.
And they have the skills and everything that's needed to fill you're not just doing
No, I mean, they're
something.
both fabulous, and that's one of the things I've been frustrated with in our budget was that those positions, they're more qualified than the positions they're working in.
Okay, so that's good. So you achieve 2 or 3 purposes with this change. So I like that. I'll endorse that.
Thank you.
This time, we have a motion and a second. No further questions. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that we will amend it for next Tuesday to make sure that the organizational chart is correct on there. And
You need me here next Tuesday? I'm happy to be here if you...
no, sir, I think we can excuse you next week.
Okay. All right. Thank you all so much. I appreciate all you're doing for us.
Thank you, Judge. Thanks for coming. We carried a vote on that? All right. Want to make sure that's amended properly, and that concludes all the items except for executive session. This time, I will like to make a couple of comments prior to going into executive session. Number one is we purposely place executive session at the end because what we don't want to do is have a long gap between the meeting if we don't have to, and have the general public waiting for us to come back for the rest of the meeting. The reason we do executive session is kind of accommodate that, but also there are sometimes we may come out of executive session and just adjourn the meeting, which means there's no items to be consideration for a public vote when we come out. So we want to let the public know that because we don't want you to keep you there a long period of time and then come back and adjourn and have you waiting for a long time. But we never know what may come out of executive session to need to take a vote. So a couple of things I just want to touch on real brief before we go into executive session is, number one, we had the Clean Streets Matters campaign this last weekend. Although we had some weather that came in after lunchtime, we had a very successful event. I've seen numerous posts, social media posts that are very positive about Macon. I think that's something we all can be proud of. I know everyone has potential conflicts, but we had a great participation from the government itself. 81 groups and over 1,500 people participated in that. And we're already, Chris Floor, along with Carolyn Childs, will be announcing very soon our next cleanup that we'll have this summer. And this is something we're going to continue to do and hopefully get the message out and educate people so we have to have less of these cleanups in the future because people are doing a better job. But we certainly want to appreciate everyone that that participated in that to get the word out, for the positive comments. And we're making a real difference in Macon-Bibb County. I want to thank all of y'all for allowing us to do that and allowing this initiative to be successful. I had the opportunity to visit with my family and Commissioner Tillman's family at the warming center after we worked picking up trash that day. And it was good to see the people there, and I think he would share my sentiments there, is that we were doing some good things at the warming center. Even the people at the warming center were aware that we were out picking up trash, so we know we're getting the word out. So I want to make those comments, and Commissioner Tillman, you want to speak on this issue first before I move on to the second? If it's related to this, I'll go ahead and let you talk. Okay. The next issue I wanted to talk about just briefly was on yesterday. I did have an impromptu press release, press conference with Sheriff David Davis, and it was something I felt like we needed to have on yesterday. It was a long press conference with a question and answer. Really did not do the details until around lunchtime on that, and did not reach out to the commissioners. And the reason I didn't send an email, because I know some are better than others of receiving emails or getting their emails from the government, since you have your own daily lives and jobs, and I'd The last thing I wanted to do is have a few people read their emails and show up and others not, and it appeared that we all was not interested in the situation. So I made the decision to go in it alone. Davis wanted it to keep it plain and simple as well. At that press conference, we did talk about something that I do want to bring to commission next week. Over the last couple of months, at your request and conversations we had here around the shoehorn, we discussed how we can make the jail better and safer for everyone, inmates and deputies alike. And I've had conversations with Sheriff Davis. I asked him to submit some budgetary items during the budget process, which he did, which jumped his budget request up substantial for the upcoming year. So we began to look at his budget and look at funds. And one thing we realized is that there's no need to wait 2 or 3 months plus a procurement process to take care of what we believe is an urgent need at the jail. So I reached out to him and told him that it would be my desire to go ahead and prepare something for a commission to consider to go ahead and allocate those funds. The majority of the funds is around $3 million, and it is for the locks that we've been hearing about. I know you've been getting calls as well as myself, but the locks are outdated. They create a potential safety hazard because they can be manipulated very easily, and it may create an unsafe environment. The cost of those are pretty substantial, but we have to go ahead and begin the procurement process. So I've asked our attorneys to go ahead and look how we can expedite that matter after your approval. We did not have everything ready for the agenda today to give you documentation because I want to make sure that you understood what the request was going to be for and also where the money would be coming from. I do expect to have that to you this week, and I hope to add it to the agenda next Tuesday for a final vote on that and disregard the budget process in that regards. So I do hope that I will get your support on that. I will have the information to you this week. We do know that we've asked him to consider some money out of his commissary that he has, as well as we have about $1 million that we have allocated for facilities in our SPLOST for the Sheriff's Office. And then, of course, we may have to use some general funds or other CARES Act or rescue plan money if it so allows. We still have not got the regulations on that. But we will have a plan for you. We hope that you will support that next week. And I think that we need to give him all the tools that he needs to have there at the jail. So I just want to bring that to your attention since we did have a press conference yesterday, and also explain to you why it happened at such a late venue and you was not made aware early. One final thing, and I do apologize, Commissioner Tillman, is on tomorrow we are looking to have another press conference to share some good news on our Blight Initiative. Chris Ford will be getting that information to you shortly after this meeting to announce that initiative and where we'll be at and the times. We hope that all of you can attend, and if you cannot, that is okay. We know that you support the initiative, and we know that you are in favor of what we're doing, and we will have many, many more of these very soon. So at this time, Commissioner Tillman, I'll let you speak.
What time is the State of the Community on tomorrow? Is that tomorrow?
It's on Thursday.
Oh, it's Thursday. God, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And great timing this morning as far as this to, I'm asking for a point of personal privilege since we do have some time. Did want to share your sentiments on the cleanup and meeting with you and your family at the Women's Center. It was a great event. I'm hoping the education piece can extend to families at their homes that in their front yards that need to be cleaned up as well. Just want to share that I encourage and continue to encourage folks to receive your vaccine shot. Right now at the farmers market, which is a state facilitated vaccine location, you do not need an appointment. So with everybody been looking for an appointment, you can drive up over in District 5 at the farmers market. And a lot of people for years, we've always thought that that was District 8 because people refer to the farmers market as Eisenhower Parkway. But Mayor Pro Tem does his research well, and it's not even on Eisenhower, but that's what people refer to it. So it's over in District 5, and you can receive those appointments. My heart's heavy this morning for a couple of reasons related to law enforcement and what's happening. I think as today we begin to lay down and celebrate the life of a young person that was killed in our jail, 30 years of age. I'm also reminded about a man that I never talk about often. Is my own dad, who was shot and killed in Fulton County by law enforcement nearly over 50 years ago. And even in today's society, we're still dealing and facing those issues. I was kind of late this morning because I was in the car. I wanted to hear from my friend and talk to my friend who's a major at the Bibb County Sheriff Department. I woke up with him on my mind when we both were 18 years of age. Major Kevin Harris and I worked at Domino's Pizza at age 18, and all we ever talked about was becoming police officers, law enforcement officers. Kevin went on to become a law enforcement officer, and I got deterred and ended up going through the military. And Kevin came up through the ranks, and now Kevin's a major over special events. And we talked this morning. Just wanted to hear his voice is what I told him, and I was thinking about him and so many other officers. But we're dealing in some dangerous times, because every time a police shooting or something, I always think about young men, and I always think about my father being age 26 and how so many African American men are becoming victims. And one of the things that people I know respect is the uniform of law enforcement, even the uniform of the military. And watching last night, me and my 12-year-old son and my wife watching the video of Army Lieutenant Karen Nazario being disrespected and pepper sprayed, and things that he was just saying, and for no reason, and just the way the officer, who was also a military veteran, had just treated him. It just sends a terrible, terrible precedent over and over, that there are so many good officers, but yet these bad ones continue to bring a black eye. And the public needs to just realize that we have to continue to talk to our young men and women. And that's what I was telling Major Harris this morning, my friend, that you have to continue to encourage your men and women that you're under, and not be afraid to speak up for those who's over you. 20-year-old Dante White, shot and killed by a 20-year veteran. He was 20, she had 20 years, and just 10 miles from George Floyd's trial being taken place, making a mistake in using her revolver as opposed to a taser, a 20-year-old veteran. But sometimes there's solace and sometimes there's relief, because Charlie Harrison, who's 39, an officer, was sentenced to 2.5 years for pulling his unmarked vehicle over in front of a father and two of his boys that was coming from their grandmother's grave, visiting their grandmother, and he pulled him over in an unmarked car. But the judge saw fit to give him 2.5 years in prison because he considered it racial profiling. And so what I'm asking the public to do is not to always assume or blame all law enforcement officers, but to point out and understand and realize that we have some bad ones, because I think the attitude sometimes when you hear these things becomes so bad that you want to blame an entire force. And here we are as a commission always saying we support our public safety, we want to do right and want them to get more money and want them to be satisfied, but these bad apples keep showing up. No matter what city, community, state, or country, it affects all of us on this level. And so those are some thoughts this morning, thinking about my father as a 26-year-old male who had married twice and had 4 kids. And you think about today that didn't happen with young black 26-year-old males. That my mom was his second wife and had 4 kids, and this thing just in my lifetime, from my father over 50 years ago, shot and killed by law enforcement, to now in today's society, is still happening. So please be vigilant, be mindful, and as I told Major Harris and all of us, be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tillman, for those remarks. At this time, we do have a need to go into executive session, and the executive session for consultation with the county attorney or other legal counsel to discuss pending or potential litigation, settlement claims, administration procedures, or other judicial actions. That's my motion. Can I get a second? Got a second by Pro Tem Clark. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. We're now in executive session. Okay, at this time, I'd entertain a motion to come out of executive session. Got a motion by Commissioner Wynn, second by Commissioner Bronson. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. We're now out of executive session. We thank you for being here today. This will close out our committee of whole, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night at 6 o'clock to vote on finalization of this agenda, any new items that may come before us at that time. Remember, today we continue to think and pray for the family of Deputy Christopher Knight. His services are at 2 o'clock today. I ask for you to pray for their family, and particularly his little girl, and everything that they're going through now, but give them time to go through their bereavement, but also always keep them in mind. We plan on giving our respect today as a commission and as a mayor, and we ask you to do that. It will also be televised live by all media outlets, so if you don't feel comfortable with coming to the Macon City Auditorium, please observe that at your own pleasure. So at this time, there's no further business that brings us here today. This meeting is hereby adjourned.